So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can turn your free Skool community members into high ticket customers on autopilot. And this is the same strategy who we've used to help Antonio, who's a real estate coach, go from zero to over $25,000 in revenue, $19,000 cash collected in just the first few weeks of working with us. So I'm going to reveal it all in this video, so be sure you stick around. So I think it's important to understand, why do you need a free community in the first place, and who should have a free community and who shouldn't? Well, the community funnel is a way to get people to know, like, and trust you by providing value continuously over time. And so the free community funnel is really good for people who don't already have an organic presence and they don't already have a lot of trust built within their target audience, their target market. And what the free community does is it gives free courses and other value, which I will break down how to do in the later parts of this video, so that you build trust with your customer over time. And it's much easier to get them on a phone call or do a webinar and turn them into a high ticket customer, because that trust and that nurturing has already been built up over time, all within that free community. And you can think of the community as middle of the funnel. So if YouTube and TikTok and Instagram organic is top of funnel, and that's where people are discovering you through the algorithm, then the community is middle of funnel. And at that point, you'll have their email address, you'll have their name, and they will have signaled intent to go deeper with you and get free value from you. And within this free community is your opportunity to provide value and to instill the beliefs that your prospect needs in order to buy your thing. So having been on Skool for about a year now and helping dozens of different content creators across all different kinds of niches like real estate, health and fitness, content creation, I have seen that one thing is for certain, and that is the free to paid group funnel is a tried and true method that just works. If you look at the top Skool game winners over the last year, you'll see that most of these people who have won the big cash prize for the Skool games have used this free group funnel to turn people into paying customers into their paid groups. And the reason that this works so well is because we're living in a trust recession. Think of the last time that you saw an ad and clicked on it and then bought something for $5,000. Like, it just doesn't happen today because trust is at an all-time low, and people are really skeptical about buying into things when you see all these guarantees and these offers on the market. The free group funnel really builds up the trust that you need in order to make the sale, because in sales, trust is really the key thing that is going to get people over the line. So I am in a ton of these free groups. I've also created a ton of these free groups. One thing that I consistently see is that people mess up the onboarding. Now, even if your group is free, you want to be very attentive of the people that have came inside your group, because they signaled intent to purchase something. So these are warm leads. These are hot leads coming in. And as soon as they opt into this free group, you want to be on top of them. What I see a lot of times is most people will have somebody come into the group and there's no clear direction, there's no welcome, and they kind of just get lost. And then eventually over time, the group just goes completely dormant. Because there's no direction for the group and there's no mission, there's no value there. And so what you're doing is aggregating people in a place, but that place isn't valuable, so it doesn't really build the trust that you need to get the sale in the first place. So there are a few things that we can do to solve this. One is Skool actually has a auto DM feature that you can use so that when people join the group, you can say, hey, welcome to the group. You can even customize their name so it seems like it's tailored to their name specifically. You can say, hey, welcome to the group. What made you join? And from here, you actually want to start a conversation, especially if you're selling high ticket, because the ultimate goal is to get them on a phone call or on a webinar at that high ticket price, right? And then what you can do is have a follow-up where 12 hours later, if they haven't responded, then you follow up again, right? Because we want to continue to engage with these people. We want to continue to provide value to them, and we want to get them on a call or on a webinar so that we can convert them into the core offer. So auto DM and then follow up in the DMs are two critical things that you need. Another thing that you can use is a pinned post with a CTA. I'm not going to get into this too much, but one way that you can grow your group is you can have a lead magnet within your group and tell people, hey, I'm gonna give you this free book, I'm gonna give you this free case study, I'm gonna give you this free course as a lead magnet. And then when people join, they're expecting that lead magnet. So what you can do is you can pin the lead magnet to the top of the community board. And within this pinned post up top, what you can do is you can say, hey, if you came here for the lead magnet, here it is. And then you write a little CTA with some direct response marketing and say, hey, by the way, after you get that lead magnet, book a call or go on to the next step. But the key here is onboarding these people in a sequential way where there is very clear direction on what to do next. So you have your auto DMs, your follow-ups, your pinned post, and you also want to create a Start Here course. This Start Here course is pretty much going to tell your member everything that they need to know in order to get started within the group, right? And so a lot of the times within this Start Here course, what I'll put is the group's mission. Okay, what are the group's mission, values, and rules? If your group is in a niche that might be to the older demographic, then they're probably not too familiar with Skool. So here you would want to do some like Skool training, right? And that's all dependent on the niche, if your audience is sophisticated in technology or not. Also within this Start Here course, you want to talk about how they can unlock more value within the group. And so this is where you can put incentives so that people engage with the group and unlocked further courses down the line. Because when people engage with the group, they will surface to the top of your group and they can be on the leaderboard, they'll be in your DMs, and those are going to be the people who are most interested in buying your high ticket service in the first place. So what we want to do is create strong incentives so that people rise up the leaderboard and people are engaging and adding value to the community. And we want to reward those people with free resources. And then eventually we want to turn those people and target those people to turn them into customers. Now, within this Start Here course, you also want to put a video sales letter. And a video sales letter essentially just breaks down who you are, what you do, what your technique, your method, your unique mechanism is, and what are the high-level strategic steps that somebody needs to take in order to get their desired outcome on the thing that they wanted. It's probably why they opted into your lead magnet. It's why they joined the group. It's something that they wanted that you have or that you can give them, right? And so what you'll see a lot of times is these VSLs are on landing pages where there will be like a book a call below the VSL. And the whole point of the VSL is to sell you on booking a call. So we want to do the same thing here. We want to make people aware of what your mission is, who you are, what you do, what makes you stand out, why you're unique, what is your unique selling proposition, why should somebody listen to you, right? Establishing credibility and authority. Then ultimately it's like a pitch. So a lot of these sales assets, whether that's webinars, VSLs, phone calls, these are all partly establishing problem awareness and solution awareness, and then going into a pitch and going into an offer so that your audience is offer aware. And within this Start Here course is a great place to combine all of that content within one single course so that your audience walks through the entire awareness cycle and they have an opportunity to, again, either book a call or jump on a webinar if you're selling something that's high ticket. All right, so this is the onboarding process. These are the things that you should have set up so that your member has a very clear direction of what to do next within that free community. But next, I want to talk about the value that you will continue to give on an ongoing basis so that your community stays engaged, it stays active, and it doesn't just die and whimper out. So in terms of providing continuous value to your group, what I like to do is pretty much use a 3-bucket system. And in these 3 buckets is essentially your content strategy. I talked about this a little bit on my last video when I was going into email marketing. But what you're going to have is you're going to have value post, indirect post, direct post. Now, the value post just straight up do what they say. They provide value without having any ask, without having any CTA at the end of this. And these posts are essentially to engage the audience, to create a relationship with the audience, to give them value. So you can do things like value post, where you're describing maybe a test that you've ran in the past. Say you're running a lot of paid ads right now, then what you can do is say, hey, I ran $1,000 worth of paid ads last month, and I set up this test to see what the biggest hooks were, right? Or what the most valuable hooks were, what the audience was resonating with. And then you break down the scientific experiment into a post, and people will see that and they will be able to build on top of your knowledge, which is why it's called a value post. But you can also do things just like engaging posts. So you can do polls where you're polling your audience, where it's just like, hey, I'm gonna make something new in the future. What do you guys wanna see? So if you're in health and fitness, you could say, what do you guys wanna see? Do you wanna do more strength? Do you wanna do more diet? Do you wanna do more dynamic stretching, etc.? But this will just engage the audience and essentially tell them that something's on the horizon, also providing value. Right? You can also just ask questions, have announcements, and there's a bunch of different formats that I don't have the time to get into right now, but there's a bunch of different formats that go under this value post where you're essentially not asking for anything within the group. Now, these indirect posts are gonna be something like the pinned post that I mentioned earlier, where you're going to be providing value on the front end of the post, but then on the back end of the post, you're going to have the CTA where you have the ask to book a call. Right? And the thing to note here is that the more you ask, the less goodwill you have in your audience. So what you want to do is you want to balance and maintain a high goodwill within your audience, and these indirect posts are a really good way to do that. They're just a little bit trickier to write. And you can see this on a bunch of like newsletters. Like if you go to Matt Gray's newsletter, he has a bunch of these indirect, really valuable long posts where he's sharing stories, where he's sharing lessons, and then at the end he has, hey, by the way, book a call with my team. You can do the exact same thing within the free group. Now, the direct post is straight up no value, just saying, hey, like I have this offer right now. If you want this offer, then book a call, DM me, and you give them straight up a CTA. And again, this depletes your goodwill within the audience. It depletes the pipeline equity, but it increases your sale, and it's a lot more direct. So people who are like red hot, ready to buy from you, they're gonna reach out to you or book a call with your team. So I like to use this 3-bucket system. What I'll typically do is try to post daily within groups. If you can't post daily, every other day is fine. And then you just want to rotate these different types of posts. Me personally, I would not do direct post a lot, right? What you can do is mostly value posts and then a few indirect posts, and maybe once a month or occasionally do direct posts, or if you have like a new offer or something like that, right? Okay, so that is the continuous value that you can give within your free community, right? But now I want to talk about conversion events, because conversion events are how you can turn these free group members into high ticket customers, okay? And there's multiple ways you can do this. The most common way is book a call. And like I have been saying, if you have your Start Here course and you have your pinned post and you have your value post all directing to book a call, this is where most people are going to go. And you need to make sure there's a very clear step-by-step progression of your free members so that they go into this book a call, right? But there's also other events that you can do and that you can host in order to convert people. So one thing that I really like to do is webinars and workshops. And these webinars and workshops can either point people to book a call, right? So you're filling up your calendar even more. Or what I've done a lot in the past is just straight up sell on these webinar and workshops, put the link to sell in the chat, and people will buy on these webinar and workshops if your offer is structured properly and you have scarcity and you have urgency in the offer. Won't get into that right now, but these are really powerful because you don't have to get one-on-one on a Zoom call to sell somebody. And instead you can have a room of 500 people if you can fill a room with that many people, and then you can sell your offer. But they're also a lot more advanced and a lot trickier, because what you're having to do is create a sales presentation and overcome objectives like you were on a sales call, but you don't have the ability to get feedback from that audience. So you're essentially trying to overcome every single objection within that sales pitch possible. But if you get a really, really good working webinar or workshop, this thing just absolutely crushes. I know people making millions of dollars using these webinars and workshops. I've done this as well with multiple creator where we've had 10K workshops, 15K workshops. So these just work. And what you can do is actually combine the book a call with the webinar and the workshop. And so you can have a calendar within the free group, and every week or every other week you have these free workshops along with the book a call. Okay. So another conversion event that you can do is a challenge. I love challenges. Russell Brunson has this really amazing challenge. It's called Selling Online, and he did it all through Skool.com. And it's essentially a 5-day virtual challenge where you join a group, you go live with him on Zoom for 5 days. And what this challenge is essentially a webinar and workshop spread out over 5 days. So I'm not going to dive into the framework, but for example, in this webinar and workshop, one of the things that you talk about is your own story and your own transformation and how that led you to an epiphany where you realized that this thing was the key to unlocking, what you want wanted. And so within this challenge, that first day is when you tell that story. The rest of the days is where you go on to the epiphany bridges, the scripts, et cetera, et cetera. But these 5-day challenges are really good because it compresses trust in just a 5-day window. And you can also do 3-day challenges, 5-day challenges. The reason that I kind of stay away from these is just because it is a lot of preparation. It is a lot of work. And because it's spread out over multiple days, sometimes people will go for day 1, but not day 2 and 3, or go for day 2 and not 3. And if they skip over some days, they can sometimes not understand like the problems that they need to understand, the solutions that they need to understand. The whole time you're doing a challenge, you're overcoming common objections anyways. So if somebody misses that and they have that objection and then they come back, less likely probability that they're going to get over the line to make the sale, okay? Another thing that I like to do is just a group onboarding call, okay? And this group onboarding call is very basic and it's like not super direct pitch. So you can essentially have people come on a call and you can just talk with them, chat with them, do Q&A, show them around the community, show them the Start Here course, show them the pin post, tell them what's planned next. And then at the end, you just kind of mention, hey, by the way, you know, we also have this other group, it's paid, here's what we're doing. And this is essentially a soft pitch. So it's not going to have a high conversion rate, right? But if you're talking to somebody on the phone for 45 minutes or on a Zoom call for 45 minutes and they really like what you're saying, then you mention, hey, by the way, you know, we have this paid thing at the end, and then your about page of the paid group has a really strong VSL and a really strong offer, then they're gonna click on that and they're gonna have a high likelihood of going into that paid group because you've already established the trust with them one-on-one as if you were taking a sales call, although you didn't overcome the objections. That's the only caveat with that. But this is really a good way to get to know your group, get to know who the people are, what they want. It's a really good way to do market research. So you wanna understand what your audience's goals are and how you can provide value to them to help them get to their goals. So that is what we do for the conversion events to high ticket offer. Okay, so the last conversion events is having a setter in your DMs, and you can hire like virtual assistants in the Philippines and in India for really cheap, where they'll essentially get your login and they'll go into your DMs, and if you have a setting script, they can just walk through this script, and the whole point is to engage with that member who joined the free group and get them either on a call or get them into the paid group just through chatting with them in the DMs. This is really effective. A lot of people that are making, you know, millions of dollars a month have hired multiple setters, and there's always these conversations going down in the Instagram DMs. So this is also a really effective strategy. Just know that this is a very manual process and it takes a lot of time. If you have 1,000 people in the group, then you're gonna have 1,000 conversations back and forth multiple times before people either book a call or go to your paid offer. So these are the conversion events. And so if you implement everything that I've shared here today into your free group, I can almost guarantee you that you will get multiple people paying you thousands of dollars as high ticket customers and ascend those free members into your paid group. Now, if you want me to do this completely for you, or you just want to get my advice on how you can structure your own community so that you can ascend people into high ticket customers, then go below this video and book a call with me, and I'd be happy to get on a one-on-one call with you to personally help you map out a game plan and a structure that you can set into place into your own free community so that you can get more customers, you can convert more people from your free community, and you can ultimately make a lot more money on Skool and with your community. So appreciate it. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. See you guys in the next video.